My beloved child, be still for a moment and listen to my voice, for I am not speaking from afar, but from very near, from within your breath, within the rhythm of your heartbeat. I do not come to you in the roar of anger, but in the echo of a love that has endured long, for true love does not merely comfort, it also warns. It does not only soothe, but awakens the soul that has been lulled into the illusion of false peace. My child, I see what you cannot see. I know what stirs in the shadows of your thoughts, and I know it demands intervention. The time has come for me to speak, for if I remain silent any longer, you will no longer hear the call to return. You believe your desires are harmless, that the quiet cravings of your heart are simply part of being human. But I see their roots. I see the undercurrents pulling your soul away from the path I have destined for you. Like a river slowly drifting from its course, it does not realize that a small bend today can lead it to a Dead Sea tomorrow. My child, I do not want that for you. I have not come to extinguish you, but to realign the flow within you. For if I do not intervene, what seems sweet now will turn to poison, and what feels like freedom will become the very chain that binds you. I know you are weary. I see how you struggle to keep the appearance of strength while your inner being decays from anxiety and conflict. I have watched you through the long nights when you try to pray, but your heart feels empty when tears fall, but your soul remains dry. You tell me you want to walk in the light, yet you still cling to the hand of darkness because it feels familiar. You ask for my blessing, but you do not want me to touch the corners of your heart. You're not ready to surrender. You say you want to hear my voice, but only when it agrees with your will. My child, I must speak plainly now. You cannot belong both to me and to what pulls you downward. I do not share my throne in your heart with any idol. I do not say this to shame you. I say it because I love you too much to watch you wander without acting. True love does not stay silent when the soul sinks into illusion. I see the smiles you wear that I know are masks. I hear the prayers you recite that carry the scent of fear, not faith. I see the acts of virtue you perform for recognition, not devotion. You think I desire rituals, but I desire only the heart bare, unadorned, unhidden. For I am the one who sees through the surface down to the marrow of the soul. When I look at you, I do not see a failure. I see one covered in the dust of the world. And I am ready to blow that dust away, though the wind may sting. I know what is coming will not be easy. Yet as a potter cannot reshape a vessel without breaking the mold, so I cannot renew you without dismantling what was false. There are ties, dreams, and plans that I will allow to crumble, not to harm you, but because they were never true foundations. I will shake what you stand upon, so that you may discern rock from sand. You will think I am taking from you, but in truth I am saving you from what you have loved wrongly. As once I called Solomon in a dream, now I call you in the midst of chaos. Be awake, for I speak not through an ancient prophet's voice, but through the echo within your spirit. You have become accustomed to hearing me through others, and have forgotten that I still speak directly to you. I still knock at the door of your heart, though you drown my sound in busyness and pleasure. I still stand there unmoving, though everything else has walked away. For I am not only the God of miracles, but the God of gentle warnings. I do not only save you from fire, but from the ashes of complacency. My beloved, I know your heart longs for peace, but true peace does not come from avoiding truth. It comes from facing it in my light. You fear that if I expose you, you will break. But remember this, I never expose to destroy. I reveal to heal. I never shine to shame. I illuminate to set free. It is my love that makes you restless in deceit. It is my love that will not let you be comfortable in sin. If I were silent, that would be the time to fear, for silence would mean I had let go, but I have not. I am still calling louder, deeper, more urgently than before. As Job once said, my ears had heard of you, but now my eyes have seen you. I desire that for you too, that you would not only hear of me from others, but truly know me in the winds that now stir your life. For I am coming not with the whip, but with refining fire. That fire will consume the false shell, but it will leave behind a pure light within you. My child, do not run anymore. Do not fear the light. Darkness only has power when you turn your back. Face it, and you will see it was never as real as you thought. I see the tears you hide behind your smile, and I call each one by name. I know the moments you wanted to give up, and I upheld you before you fell. You think I am far, yet I am closer than your own heartbeat. You think I am silent, yet every breath you take moves in rhythm with mine. It was I who kept you from shattering completely. It was I who stopped the enemy from devouring you. And now I speak to you this word, rise. The time for hiding is over. The time has come to look directly at what I am revealing, for this is not condemnation, it is the call of love. My beloved child, I am exposing you so that you may be free. I am awakening you so that you may truly live. I am speaking not to make you afraid, but to bring you to awareness. You think you can delay, but my child, time does not stand still. With every moment you hesitate, a part of your soul withers. Yet there is still hope, for my breath is still flowing through you. There is still time to turn back. There is still light shining upon the road of return. Listen, for this is the call of love, not a fragile love, but one strong enough to break, to save, and to resurrect. My child, when my light shines, it never does so at random. It shines with purpose to reveal what must be seen, whether you are ready or not. Exposure is never pleasant, but it is the beginning of freedom. Do not fear my light, for my light does not come to shame you, but to liberate you. You have hidden for too long the things you did not wish to face, the things you labeled harmless, so that your heart could rest. But my child, even the smallest seed can grow into a giant tree if not uprooted. I see such seeds within your soul, thoughts planted by fear, dreams, born of pride and choices, shaped by the desire to control. All of them are growing in the dark, and if I do not come, they will choke you. You ask, why must you expose what I want to forget? I answer, because you cannot be healed while the wound remains hidden. Darkness has power only as long as it remains concealed. But when my light enters, it loses its refuge. You think you will collapse when the truth is revealed, but you will not. You will be healed. For I do not come to condemn, but to restore. I do not cut away to destroy, but to save what is still alive. Just as a gardener prunes his vine, I know where to cut, how much and when, so that it may bear lasting fruit. You feel pain, but I see life being restored. You hear the sound of breaking, but I hear the rush of sap rising within. Trust me, for I know what I am doing. You have grown accustomed to measuring my love by comfort. You think that if all is calm, I am pleased. If shaking comes, I am angry. But my child, true love never leaves you to perish quietly. I love you too much to watch you drift into ruin, so I allow the storm not to drown you, but to drown what is enslaving you. The storm is not sent to destroy, but to divide. I am separating what is false from what is true, what is temporary from what is eternal, what is impure from what is holy. Every tremor within you is proof that my love is still at work. When I shake the foundation, it is not a sign of wrath, but of divine intervention. Do you remember Job once sat among ashes, having lost everything, and it was there that he saw me most clearly? So it shall be with you. You will see my face most clearly among the ruins. When I take it away, it is not rejection, it is cleansing. When I expose, it is not humiliation, it is restoration. When I strip away, it is not to weaken you, but to teach you where true strength resides. Do not cling to what I am removing for you. Do not see how deeply it has poisoned your soul. Do not beg me to rescue what I am burying, for I am the God of life, and I preserve only what can live in my light. You are in the midst of a rescue you do not yet recognize. You see chaos, but I see purification. You see loss, but I see renewal. You see closure, but I see the opening of something new. You cannot step into the next season while carrying the burdens of the last. There are relationships, dreams, and positions I am separating you from, and you are grieving, thinking I am taking your treasures. But look, with spiritual eyes, what I remove is only the shadow of the real gift I am preparing. You think I am cutting away, but I am clearing the soil for better seeds. Everything I touch through fire or through tears leads to life. My fire is coming not to burn you, but to refine you. It will consume what you no longer need to carry. I know the fire frightens you. It is hot. It exposes what was hidden, but remember, fire does not destroy gold. It burns away impurities. In the same way, I use fire to reveal the true worth of your soul. Without fire, you would still believe that dust and gold are the same. Without fire, you would cling to deception. So I allow fire, the fire of circumstance, of truth, of loss. All are instruments in my hand, shaping you into the image I designed before time began. You say, "But Lord, why don't you save me from the fire?" I say, "Because I am saving you through it." I do not use the hammer to shatter the gem, but to break the stone around it. I do not send fire to consume your spirit, but to strengthen it. When you stand amid the flames, do not think I have left you. I am there in the fire, as I was with the three in Babylon's furnace. The fire did not burn their hair, it only broke their chains. So too the fire you face will not consume you, it will burn away the chains you once called protection. And when the ashes settle, you will see new life, stronger, purer, truer. Do not resist this process. Each time you resist, you prolong the pain. Each time you try to save what I am putting to death, you distance yourself from what I am bringing to life. Surrender. Let me do what I must do. I do not need your permission to act, but I desire your agreement to complete it. When you agree, you cease fighting against me and begin walking with me. When you say, "Thy will be done," you are not yielding in despair, but opening the door for miracles. Surrender is not loss. It is the beginning of freedom. When you stop trying to control, you will see me doing what your hands could never accomplish. I know there are things within you that have grown so deep you believe they are part of who you are, but I am coming to separate your soul from false roots. I will not work quickly, but I will work thoroughly. I do not patch what is broken. I recreate. I do not mend temporarily. I make new from the foundation. And in that process you will feel stripped bare, as though everything familiar has been taken away. But know this, I am clothing you with a new robe, the robe of holiness, the robe of glory, the robe of faith refined by fire. Everything I do has purpose, and that purpose is to make you more like me. You think you must hold everything together to survive, but in truth, you will live only when you let go. Every exposure, every loss, every flame is a testimony of my love. For I never act apart from love, and if you look beyond the pain, you will see mercy at work. I am pulling you from a pit you did not even see. I am breaking down the walls you built so that you may breathe again. I am rewriting your story, not with the ink of the past, but with the blood of redemption. Do not fear when I expose. Do not run when I strip away. Do not hide when I send the fire. Stand firm in love. Know that what I am doing today is proof that you are still chosen. For I discipline those I love. As a father corrects the child he delights in, so I correct you. I cannot stay silent while you wander from the eternal path. I cannot let darkness prevail in one whom I have called by name. So if you feel the shaking, know that I am drawing near. If you see things collapsing, know that I am rebuilding. If you see light piercing to the depths, know that it is my love doing its work. Open your heart. Let my light flood in. Let my fire consume the old. And when the ashes fall, you will find yourself reborn, not the person you once were, but a new creation standing firm in the light, no longer bound by the shadows of the past. This is the warning of love. a divine invitation for you to choose life, to awaken from slumber, and to return to the everlasting light. My beloved child, it is time to stop, not because you have gone too far, but because I do not want you to take one more step down that path. I have given you freedom, but now that very freedom is eroding your soul. I do not forbid to restrict you. I warn to release you. You think I am cutting your wings, but I am removing the net that entangles them. You think I am keeping you from good things, but I am protecting you from the abyss your eyes cannot yet see. There are things you call success, but in my eyes they are smoldering fires that will consume you if not extinguished in time. And I have come not to accuse, but to rescue the soul quietly breaking within you. My child, your soul is weary, not because you lack blessing, but because you are dragging along things I never called you to carry. You are trying to hold on to what has already expired in my design for you. There are bonds you have labeled sacred that are in truth only shackles wrapped in empty promises. There are dreams you thought were born in the light but were actually nurtured in the gray zone of pride. And I see you. I see how you strive to keep everything standing by your own strength while your soul cries for help day after day. You have asked me to give you more strength, but I cannot empower what I have not called. You have asked me to bless your way, but I cannot bless what leads to destruction. It is not because I am harsh. It is because I am truth, and truth cannot compromise with deception. I have let you go far enough to realize this. You cannot be light while hiding in darkness. You cannot speak of hope while your heart remains indifferent to the cry of the Holy Spirit. You cannot sing of freedom while the chains still hang around your neck. Now I have come to cut them, not with the sword of this world, but with the sword of my word, sharp, precise, and full of grace. That sword will separate the false from the true, the temporary from the eternal. It will hurt, but it is pain that leads to life, because you cannot be healed unless you let me touch the wound. My child, do not think I love you only when you are good. My love is not measured by your perfection, but by my unchanging nature. I love you when you stand, and I love you when you fall. I love you when you sing in the light, and I love you when you weep in the dark. But that love will never leave you in the mire. It pulls you out. It calls you home. It speaks your name, even when you no longer wish to hear it. Like the father in the parable, I keep looking from afar. Day after day I watch. Night after night I wait. Every step you take toward me makes heaven rejoice. No distance is too far, no sin too deep for my love to reach. You ask me, why do you still love me, though I have betrayed, doubted, and gone astray? I answer, because I do not change. My love does not depend on your actions. It is anchored in who I am. When I chose you, I knew each hour of your weakness. When I called your name, I knew every turn you would take. Still I chose, still I called, because I see within you what you have not yet seen. You imagine I only see your sin, but I see through it to the seed of glory I myself have sown. I have not come to recite your faults. I have come to awaken that seed. You were not made to dwell in shame, but to reflect my light. You have wondered why I let you taste loneliness, failure, and long silences. But my child, it is in those silences that I speak the loudest. It is in those losses that I lead you home. You did not realize it, but every time you were rejected, I was protecting you. Every closed door was my merciful no. Every shattered dream was a reminder that I have something better. I have taken what you thought you needed in order to give you what you truly need. Yet because you see only with fleshly eyes, you mistook my healing for harm. Not everything good comes from me, but everything I do is good. One day when you look back, you will thank me for the no's you once resented. I am calling you out of the neutral zone where you want the light and still love the dark. The time has come to choose. Two altars cannot stand in one heart. Two kings cannot share one throne. I will not share my place within your soul with anything else. You cannot pray to me while nursing what I despise. You cannot praise me while letting your heart brim with bitterness and envy. Decide, my child, choose life. Choose the light. Choose me not out of fear of judgment, but because you have drunk your fill of the emptiness of darkness. I know you fear leaving what is familiar, but you do not yet see that on the far side of surrender lies a life wider, freer, and brighter. I am not calling you into a void, but into fullness, not into loss, but into restoration. When you yield, you do not lose, you gain. When you die to the old, you live to the new. When you humble yourself, I lift you up. When you weep, I gather your tears and turn them into seeds for the new season. Not one tear falls in vain. Not one pain is wasted. Everything is woven into the great design I wrote for you before the world was formed. You ask me, if I return, will you still want me? And I say, I have never stopped wanting you. Even when you turned your back, I followed. Even when you refused, I knocked. Even when you said I am unworthy, I answered, I have chosen you. No one can snatch you out of my hand. No enemy is stronger than the promise I have set over your life. No stain is so deep that my blood cannot cleanse it. You do not need to be perfect to come home. You need only be honest. You do not need to be strong to come. You need only take the step. I will do the rest. I will hold you, lift you, and teach you to walk again. And when you fall, I will steady you. When you are weak, I will strengthen you. When you are afraid, I will be your peace. For I am Father, and you are my child. Nothing can change that. My beloved, come home. Stop running. Let your heart melt before me. Let truth be spoken so darkness loses its hiding place. Let your tears wash away the masks you have worn for too long. Let me embrace you. As the Father embraces the prodigal returned, there is no reproach, no condemnation, only a joy that floods the heavens. For this is the hour I restore. This is the hour I heal. This is the hour I rewrite the story. Come home, for the house is still open, the table is set, and I am still waiting. I am speaking to you now with an unchanging love, not to warn endlessly, but to invite you into a new season. A season of truth, of surrender, of genuine peace. Do not delay, do not hesitate. For every moment you linger, the darkness reclaims a part of you. Come now while the door of grace stands open. Let me wash you, renew you, and restore you. Let me breathe the breath of life into what has died. Let me give you a new heart, a new spirit, and new eyes to see me. You no longer need to run. You no longer need to hide. You only need to come. My love has already won. When you hear of fire, your heart trembles for you. Remember pain, loss, and what has been burned away. But know this, my fire does not come to turn you to ashes, but to consume the chains that have bound you. It is not punishment, it is the instrument of love, a love stronger than all darkness, deeper than all failure. For there are things within you that can only be set free by passing through the fire. I am the Holy One, and my presence is fire. When I come, all that is impure must fade, not because I am severe, but because light cannot coexist with darkness. Do you remember when Moses stood before the burning bush, how the flames blazed? But the bush was not consumed. That was the image of grace within fire. My fire burns, yet it does not destroy. It purifies without erasing what I choose to keep. In the same way, I am allowing the fire to come upon you. You do not need to fear it, for I am in that fire. Every spark that touches you is measured by my hand. No heat reaches your soul without my permission. I know you will want to flee, but understand this. To run from the fire is to run from renewal, and I love you too much to let you stop halfway. You have prayed for me to change your life, to renew your soul, to purify your mind. Yet you did not understand that for those prayers to be answered, the fire must come. No renewal happens without fire. No soul destined to bear light escapes the furnace. I do not say the fire will destroy, but rather the fire will refine. The fire is my answer to your sincere prayers. You said, "Make me more like you," and I have heard you. But to be like me, you must walk through what I walked through. My son Jesus was not glorified without the cross and the refining fire. The fire does not make you less, it makes you real. Look at gold. It does not shine when mixed with mud. It must pass through the fire to be purified. So when you see the flames rising around you, remember, I am not judging you. I am refining you. I am separating the false from the true, the temporary from the eternal. There are habits, thoughts, and attachments that cannot go with you into the new season. You cannot step into divine destiny carrying the baggage of the old. So I send the fire to burn, to filter, to divide. Yet in the midst of the fire I stand with you. As I was with Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego in the furnace, so I am with you in yours. The flames may blaze, but they will not prevail. You will emerge untouched by smoke, carrying only the fragrance of holiness. You think I am tearing everything down, but I am rebuilding. I know the fire frightens you because it arrives unannounced. One day seems calm and the next the ground shakes beneath you. But remember, every shaking from me is measured by love. I never send a storm without a purpose. When the earth trembles under your feet, it is because I am laying a new foundation. When the old is removed, it is because I am building upon rock, not sand. The shaking is not a sign of ruin, but of construction. My grace is not only gentle as morning dew, it is also thunderous as the storm stirring the soul awake. You ask, Lord, why can't you save me more gently? I reply, because you did not listen when I spoke softly. When I whispered, you were too busy. When I warned, you ignored. When I sent signs, you called them coincidence. So now I must speak through shaking. I do not choose the wind to break you. I choose the tremor to wake you. I do not wish to strike you down. I wish to awaken you. And sometimes, love must roar to be heard. There are things you call disasters that I call deliverance. There are people who have left that you call betrayal, but I call it release. There are closed doors you call endings, but I call them redirections. You are in my hands, not in the hands of blind fate. Nothing happens outside my permission, and I permit nothing that cannot lead to good in the end. I am using fire to separate you from whatever distorts my image in you. Do not ask, when will this fire end? Ask instead, what is this fire teaching me? For when its purpose is complete, the fire will extinguish itself. Fire does not burn forever, it burns until the work is done. When the gold is pure, I remove it from the furnace. When your soul is ready, I lift you out of trial. But if you leave the fire too soon, the impurities remain, and they will break you in the next season. That is why I hold the timing. I know when it is enough. I know when to stop. You only need to trust me. Even when your emotions cannot understand and your reason cannot explain, I remain the Lord of the fire. Beloved, my fire not only refines it, illuminates, it reveals what the darkness has concealed. You will see more clearly who is real and who is false, what is of me and what is deception. Fire not only transforms you, it transforms your vision. After passing through it, you will no longer see as before. You will know what is worth keeping and what must be released. You will recognize my voice amid 1,000 others. You will no longer fear solitude, for you will understand that being alone with me is fuller than being surrounded without me. Fire purifies not only the soul but also perception, teaching you to see life through heaven's eyes. Remember, fire is the sign that I am still at work. The one I abandon, I no longer refine, for I purify only what I intend to use. If you feel the heat, it is proof that you are still chosen. If you feel the shaking, it is proof that I still have plans for you. Stand firm in the fire, for my fire does not come to end, it comes to begin. It does not destroy, it clears the way. It does not close, it gives birth. When the flames subside, you will not be the same. You will stand in the light, carry the scent of holiness, and in your eyes I will see my reflection. My child, this is the fire of grace, not of condemnation. This fire is not sent to consume, but to cleanse. Not to shame, but to equip. I am turning the ashes of your old season into fertile soil for the new. I am transforming the places of your breaking into the places of my dwelling. And one day you will say, I walked through the fire, but it was in the fire that I met him. Hold on to that truth, my child, and do not fear. For when I send fire, I also send peace with it. When I allow shaking, I set my foot beside you. Nothing happens outside the arms of my love. Beloved, you have felt it, haven't you? The ground beneath you, shifting the things once solid, now uncertain. You look around and see what you thought would last forever beginning to fall apart. But my child, do not fear. This shaking is not the sign of destruction, but the proof that I am drawing near. For when I come, nothing false can remain standing. I do not shake to hurt you, I shake to make you true. I am separating your soul from the illusion of safety, so that you may build on what is eternal. My child, there are things I must shake, so you will know they are not bedrock. You have staked your trust on fragile foundations, on people, on feelings, on plans, even on yourself. But none of these can hold your soul when the storm rises. So I allow the wind to blow. I let the ground shift. Not to make you fall, but to show you the only place you can stand without being moved where I am. I am the steadfast rock. From everlasting to everlasting I do not change. When you stand on me, everything around you may sway, but you will not be swept away. You ask, Lord, why do you permit everything around me to break? I answer, because I cannot build the new upon the old. You want me to bestow blessing, yet you do not want me to dismantle. You long to see a new season, but you resist the first winds that herald it. You desire expansion, yet fear the fracture that precedes it. You do not realize that all my works begin with breaking, as a seed must dissolve in the earth to spring forth, as the soil must split for the shoot to rise, as the clay must be ground to be shaped anew, so your soul must pass through shaking, to be formed again in my image. My child, true grace is not only gentleness, it is also power within the shaking. Grace does not merely cradle a weary soul, it smashes the chains that bind it. Grace does not only whisper, I love you, it cries out, rise. Grace does not only soothe, it intervenes. It pours oil, and it pours fire. You cannot understand grace if you see only its tender side, for real grace turns quakes into foundations, ashes into fertile soil, loss into a song of victory. The shaking you now endure is grace in motion, not the grace of comfort, but the grace of deliverance. I know you fear losing things, you fear uncertainty when the familiar slips away, but you will never find me in the world's false permanence. You meet me where things move, where the old is taken so the new can be born. The safety you seek in people, systems, and control is only a shadow. It may steady you for a moment, but it will tremble in time. I allow the trembling so you learn to lean on what cannot be shaken, my presence. As once I sent Jonah into the belly of a great fish to reorient his soul, and as I shook a prison so that Paul and Silas could be lost, so now I am using shaking to unlock your heart. Doors you cannot open by yourself, I am springing with a quake. Every crack, every jolt, every moment that seems out of control is held within my plan. You think you are being swept away, but I am steering you true. You think you are being struck down, but I am setting you in place. I permit nothing without purpose. Every shaking carries the seed of restoration. I know the question you whisper, why must this be so hard? My child, only what is shaken proves what it stands upon. If you want to know the measure of your faith, watch how you respond when the ground gives way. When you lose what you leaned on, you discover whom you truly trust. The shaking is not to dethrone you, but to teach you to trust me. Not your abilities, not others' promises, but me, the one who never breaks his word. When all else collapses, one thing remains, my word. If you cling to it, you will stand firm in the storm. Beloved, hear me. Shaking is not the end of peace. It is the beginning of true peace. You cannot possess real peace if it is built on illusion. I do not want you to have a counterfeit calm that exists only when things are fine. I want you to have the peace that holds you quiet in me, in the midst of chaos. True peace does not depend on your surroundings, but on my presence. When you learn to be still in me, the storm loses its power over you. You will no longer need to flee from shaking, for you will know that every tremor means heaven is at work. My greatest works have always begun with shaking. When I formed the world, I spoke, and waters and land moved. When I delivered Israel, Egypt quaked, the sea parted, and Sinai smoked. When my only son breathed his last upon the cross, the earth shook, and when he rose, the tomb trembled. Do you see? Whenever I unveil my greatest power, the ground responds. So when your foundations shift, know that I am drawing nearer than ever, not to condemn but to renew, not to tear down but to raise up. Let the shaking teach you to discern the eternal from the temporary. Everything visible will pass away, but what I plant in your soul endures forever. When you stop clinging to what is dissolving, you will receive what cannot be dissolved. When you release the old, your hands open to welcome the new. When you cease fearing change, you will see that I am walking within it. I am not merely on the far side of the shaking, I am in it. And there I am shaping you into a witness of my faithfulness. You will no longer tremble when the earth moves, for you will know my hand holds you fast. Do not let fear drown out faith. Do not fix your eyes on what is falling. Fix them on the one who rebuilds. When I am finished, you will understand why things had to break as they did. One day you will look back and say, had it not been for that shaking, I would never have known how firm he is. The shaking does not come to weaken you, but to teach you true strength. It does not come to breed doubt, but to fortify faith. It does not come to end, but to begin. Be still, my child, and know that I am God, the one who governs fire, earth, and your very soul with the same hand of grace. My beloved child, look back along the path you have traveled, where the fire touched, where the ground shook, where everything seemed to break. Do you see it now? The fire did not consume you as you feared. It consumed the chains. The shaking did not leave you lost. It awakened your sleeping soul. You thought you were shattered, but in truth you were reborn. For in my kingdom every loss becomes the beginning of restoration, and every sorrow hides the seed of glory. Fire does not come to finish you, but to bring forth the person I fashioned before the world began. I know you have wept, sighed, and asked, why in the midst of the trial? But in each sigh I was there. I did not leave for a single moment. When you thought you were alone in the ashes, I stood with you in the flames, holding your hand and breathing the breath of life into your soul. You did not know it, but the small flicker still burning within you was the sign that my spirit remained. It was not you who kept your faith. I kept that faith for you. It was not your strength that carried you through. I bore you through each blaze by my mercy. As a master jeweler never takes his eyes off the furnace, so I have never taken my eyes off you. I know when the fire is enough, when to add and when to draw you out. Do you remember the moments you wanted to give up? The nights you collapsed? Certain you could not endure another step. In those moments I came closer than ever. When you had no strength to pray, the groan within your heart became prayer before my throne. When your tears fell, I gathered each one into the flask I keep. For every tear shed in the fire becomes oil for the lamp of faith. Not one drop is wasted. Each one feeds the flame that now burns bright within you, the flame of true faith, refined, steadfast, and pure. This is the mystery of fire, it does not only take, it gives. It does not only burn, it illumines. It does not only tear down, it builds. Fire strips you bare, yet in that very bareness you are clothed anew. Once you feared that light would expose your wounds, but now you see light is the place where healing begins. Once you trembled at the shaking, but now you realize it was the shaking that led you back to your true roots. When all that is temporary is removed, the only thing that remains is me, and that alone is enough to keep you alive. Now you no longer believe me merely with words, but through experience. You no longer speak of me from memory, but from the breath of your own soul. You have passed through the fire, and it has etched my name upon your heart. I did not keep you from the fire, for if I had, you would never have known the strength of grace. Like Daniel in the lion's den, grace does not always close the mouths of lions. Sometimes it gives you peace enough to lie among them unafraid. I do not always still the storm. I teach you to walk upon its waves. I do not always extinguish the flames. I make you imperishable within them. For I do not want you to know me only as the one who saves, but to become the living proof that nothing can separate you from my love. No water, no fire, no loss, no sin, no darkness can do that. Look around you, my child. The ashes remain, but light is breaking through. It is the light of dawn after a long night of testing. I am turning what was burned into soil for new seed. I am transforming the places of your tears into fields of joy. As I spoke through my prophet Isaiah, I give you a crown for ashes, the oil of gladness for mourning, and a garment of praise for a spirit of heaviness. You are not walking out of the fire as a victim, but as one who has been transfigured. For fire does not change you outwardly, it transforms from within. It breaks the chains of fear, sin, and control, so you may live in the true freedom of the children of God. Let me tell you the secret of those who have endured the fire and still stand. They never come out the same. Their eyes are different eyes that have glimpsed eternity through pain. Their voices are different voices that echo truth, no longer trembling before men. Their lives are different. They no longer chase the fleeting, but walk steadily in my will. They know that everything may be taken, but I will not. They know that grace is not just a teaching, but a living power that breathes through every trial. You, my child, are becoming one of them. You have gone through the fire, and now you are being refined as pure gold. You ask me, will there still be more to lose? And I answer, only what was never truly yours. For I will not take from you anything that belongs to your eternal portion. All that departs is release. All that remains has been purified. And now you are stepping from the fire with hands no longer clutching but open, ready to receive what is new. My beloved, that is where I want you to be, with empty hands and a full heart. When your hands no longer grasp, I can place in them treasures no one can steal. When your heart is cleansed, I can pour into it my very life. I know some scars will remain, but they are not marks of defeat, they are witnesses. They tell the story that you were once wounded, but have been healed. Each scar is a testimony of victory. As Jesus still bore the nail prints after rising, not to recall pain, but to proclaim that love had triumphed, so will you bear the marks of the fire, not as pain, but as glory. Others will look upon them and say, "This one has walked through the fire," and in the fire they met God. The season of fire has passed. The season of light has come, not because everything has returned to what it was, but because you have changed. You will no longer see life with old eyes. You will no longer fear trials, for you know I am there. You will no longer pray for escape from the storm, but ask what I wish to teach through it. You will no longer plead for the fire to stop, but learn to praise me in its flames. For you have discovered that it is in the fire that I reveal the fullness of my love. You have been transformed no longer as before, but brighter, stronger, deeper, and more real. When pain becomes song, when ashes become testimony, when the fragile soul becomes the instrument of glory, you are no longer a victim of fate, but one sent forth by grace. You will carry my light within you, and wherever you walk, darkness will retreat. Fire has taught you strength, mercy, and the eternal truth that nothing can separate you from my love. Walk out of the fire with your head held high, my child, for the ashes beneath your feet are now holy ground. The place where you once fell is where I raise you up. The place where you once wept is where I will make you sing. The place where you once broke is where my glory will shine. My beloved child, it is time for you to understand a truth the world cannot teach. Freedom does not come from holding on, but from surrender. You have walked through fire, endured shaking, and watched what you thought was firm collapse before your eyes. But all of this is not an ending. It is an invitation. An invitation to let go, to release the weight of control, the fear of being hurt, the illusion that you can master your own destiny. For wherever surrender is, there peace will dwell. Only when you stop striving can I step in and lead you on the true path of freedom. I know you fear letting go. In your eyes, surrender looks like defeat, like loss, like weakness. But in my kingdom, surrender is strength, the strength not to control, the strength to trust that I know better. You have grown accustomed to fighting for everything, proving your worth, defending your heart. But my child, I did not create you to live in tension. I did not call you to strain against the world's weight. I have called you to rest in my hands, where weakness becomes power, tears become jewels, and silence becomes the weapon of the faithful. You once said to me, Lord, I want to follow you all my life. But following is not only walking, it is leaving. You cannot take everything with you, your past, your pain, your need to control even your own desires. When Abraham was called, he had to leave his homeland and go to a place he had never known. He had no map, no plan, only my word. And in that uncertainty, he learned the deepest truth that surrender opens the door to grace. So it is with you. I am calling you to walk by faith, not because you understand, but because you trust that I do. Beloved, you have held on to too many things, even those that are draining your soul. You cling to relationships I have asked you to release. You clutch dreams I no longer bless. You strive to maintain your image in others' eyes, when all I desire is for my image to be restored within you. You do not see that everything you grasp becomes an invisible chain, and those chains keep you from what I have prepared. You want to soar, yet you fear letting go of the shore. You long to see miracles, yet you resist walking into deep waters. You cannot witness my power while still leaning on your own security. My child, it is time you learn the sacred art of letting go, the lesson only the truly free can understand. When you release, you lose nothing. You are simply entrusting it to me, the one who can care for it 1,000 times better than you. You think you are losing control, but truly you are being placed into perfect hands. You think you are falling, but I am the arm beneath you. You think you are being left behind, but you are being covered by my presence. Surrender is not the death of hope. It is hope placed in the right hands. It is not resignation, but confidence that I have a better plan. As it is written, commit your way to the Lord. Trust also in Him, and He shall bring it to pass. Psalm 3:7-5. My child, I know something within you still resists the part that wants to prove itself, to manage, to strive. Yet that part must die so that your truest self may live. When you cease to fight, I begin to rebuild. When you stop striving, I begin to move. When you surrender, I pour out grace. Surrender is not something I demand because I crave power. It is something I give because I desire your freedom. Freedom cannot exist where hands still cling. Only when you release can I place eternity into your grasp. Do you remember my son Jesus in Gethsemane when he prayed, "Yet not my will but yours be done"? In that moment of surrender, victory was secured not on the cross but in the garden, where human will bowed fully to heaven's will. In the same way, every time you whisper, "Let your will be done," heaven opens. When you choose to let go, I choose to move. When you choose to yield, I choose to fight for you. When you choose to trust, I choose to deliver. And that is why the very moment you release what you fear to lose, peace will pour over you like a river. That peace does not come because circumstances have changed, but because your heart has turned from control to trust. Do not confuse surrender with giving up. Giving up is retreating in despair. Surrender is entrusting in love. Giving up is releasing because you're exhausted. Surrender is releasing because you've recognized my goodness. When you give up, you lose faith. When you surrender, you enter faith. I have not called you to surrender to darkness, but to light, not to bow in defeat, but in glory. You will find that what you feared most to release is what will free you most once you do. I have seen you wrestle with decisions, struggling to keep everything in place. I have heard you pray, Lord, please protect what I love. But my child, sometimes real love means letting go. Just as I released my only son into the hands of humanity to save the world, I know the pain of letting go. Yet as I did so, will you see, surrender in love is never loss. From that surrender, life flows. From that surrender, resurrection begins. And you too shall see that when you place everything into my hands, I will return it to you, not as it was, but renewed, transformed, and anointed. My child, let your soul learn to rest. You no longer need to control everything. You no longer need to prove that you are enough, strong enough, or worthy enough. You no longer need to strive for acceptance. I chose you before you did anything right. I love you not because you perform well, but because you are mine. Surrender is not punishment, it is grace. It is the doorway to a land where you no longer fear losing, for you know that what truly belongs to you will never leave. When you surrender, you step into the only safe place in the universe, my will. And there no fire can harm you, no storm can shake you, no voice can unsettle you. Surrender is the gate to freedom. When you surrender, you are not confined, you are released. You are not diminished, you are expanded. You do not lose your identity. You discover your true one, not a wandering orphan, but a child of the King. From now on, you will not live in fear, but in rest. You will no longer fight to be loved, but love because you already are. You will no longer cling, but trust that all I give will stand secure in my hands. My beloved child, say these words to me from the depth of your heart, Lord, I entrust all to you, not with lips alone, but with your soul. For only when you truly entrust all do you truly live. I am waiting for that moment when you let go, I will lift you. When you stop rowing against the current, I will carry your boat to shore. When you cease trying to find a way, I will open the way. And you will see, surrender does not make you lose, it makes you find everything. And when you release what you have clung to so long, you will begin to feel something new, a quiet within. It does not come because all is easy, but because you no longer resist. It is the peace of one who has stopped striving against me. For true surrender is not just the act of release, it is the inner transformation from chaos to calm, from fear to trust. You are stepping into a realm the world cannot touch, where the storm may rage around you, but no longer within you. This is the peace my son spoke of. Peace I leave with you. My peace I give to you. I do not give to you as the world gives, John 1:4-7. My peace does not come after the storm, but in it. It does not wait for calm outside. It dwells as calm within. True peace is not the absence of trouble, but the presence of me in the midst of it. I did not promise the wind would cease, but I promised you would rest in the boat, as my son did. When the disciples trembled, he slept, for he knew his Father still reigned. Now I want you to learn the same, to rest amid the waves, to trust, even without understanding, to be still while the earth trembles. This is not apathy, it is mature faith. You have lived too long in the rhythm of anxiety. You have trained yourself to expect disaster, to plan for risk, to control every detail. But my child, such control has enslaved you. Every wall you built for safety has become a barrier against my grace. For grace can only flow through the river of trust, not the walls of fear. You were not made to worry, you were made to believe. Every time you trust, your soul rests. Every time you calculate, your soul tires. I do not want your striving anymore. I want your rest in my heart. Peace is the voice of one who knows their Father still reigns. When a child lies in his father's arms, he does not ask, "Will I survive?" He simply breathes in peace. That is how I want you to live, not with a mind always analyzing, but with a heart that trusts. You cannot both control and trust me. One must yield to the other. When you choose trust, fear dissolves. When you choose to surrender, peace comes. Peace is not the reward for those who understand everything, it is the gift for those who entrust everything. Beloved, you once thought peace was a feeling, but it is a spiritual state, a refuge your soul can return to when storms arise. You will know you have truly surrendered when you can smile without seeing results, worship without witnessing miracles, and give thanks while still in the trial, for you know I am there. When you realize my presence is enough, you will no longer demand answers for everything. When you know my hands hold all things, you will no longer need to grip so tightly. When you trust that I am working, you will learn to rest in a way the world cannot teach. You ask me, how can I keep peace? When everything changes again, I say to you, do not try to keep peace. Remain in me, for I am peace. Peace is not something you guard, it is a place you dwell. You do not need to protect it, you need only remain in my presence, and peace will protect you. As Paul wrote, the peace of God which surpasses all understanding will guard your hearts and minds in Christ Jesus. Philippians 4:7. This is not a promise for some distant future, it is a reality for those who surrender today. When you begin to live in surrender, you will realize the world no longer has power to make you afraid. You will hear bad news and not tremble. You will see doors close and not panic. You will stand on shaking ground with a steady heart, not because you are strong, but because you know the strong one lives within you. You will not fear tomorrow, for you know the future rests in my hands. You will not fear loss, for you understand that nothing truly yours can ever be taken away. That is the peace of one who no longer rules their life, but is guided by the Father. I know there will still be moments of weakness, times when old fears rise again. But remember, my child, peace is not lost when you tremble. It is lost only when you turn away from me. So whenever anxiety stirs, return, breathe, call my name. Peace will come again, soft as dew, firm as stone. You will learn that peace is not a destination, but a daily walk with me. As you move with me, peace follows. When you pause in doubt, I will draw you back. I will not let you wander far from my peace, for that peace itself is the sign you are still held in my hand. My child, surrender does not make you smaller, it makes you more like me. For my son, in perfect obedience, lived with a peaceful spirit amid chaos. He was never rushed, never anxious, never afraid of lack. Every word he spoke, every step he took, flowed from a place of rest. And I am teaching you the same, to live from peace, not chase it, to act not for assurance, but from assurance. When you live that way, you will find that grace not only covers you, but flows through you. You will become a bearer of peace, not a seeker of it, beloved one. This is the mark of the truly surrendered. They no longer let circumstances decide their peace, but let the Spirit guide their soul. They are no longer moved by the voices of others, but by the whisper of their Father. They no longer live by sight, but by faith. They no longer speak fear, but breathe trust. You are becoming such a one, someone the world may shake yet, whose soul stays still. Someone who may lose everything yet not lose peace. Someone who may stand in fire yet not lose light. Someone who walks through night yet sings, knowing dawn is near. My child, let your heart rest in my presence. Stop striving to keep everything together. You are not called to control, but to trust. You were not made to understand all things, but to walk by faith. Everything you seek, security, joy, purpose, is contained in surrender. When you are in me, you have all you need. No more searching, no more running, no more fear. Simply be. Be in me, be in peace, be in the unchanging love that is mine. Be still and know that I am God. Psalm 4:6-10. Be still in body, still in mind, still in soul. Do not rush, do not fear, for I am working even when you cannot see. I am arranging all things to restore what I have promised. You need only guard your peace, not because you know the outcome, but because you know me. That knowing is enough to hold you steady through every unknown. Now, my child, after fire and shaking, after letting go and entering peace, something wondrous begins to bloom within you. True freedom. Not the freedom the world celebrates, which says, do as you wish, but the freedom of a soul unbound from fear, pride, and sin. This is the freedom of one who no longer lives to please others, but to please me. The freedom of one no longer ruled by past or future, but alive in the present moment of grace. You once thought freedom meant choosing for yourself, but real freedom is when you allow me to choose for you. When you surrender to me, you do not lose the right to live. You rediscover the purpose of life itself. For I never take without giving something better, deeper, everlasting. I never empty to leave you void, but to make room for what is holy. In surrender you find your truest self, not the one the world shaped, but the one I imagined when I said, "Let there be life." My beloved, here lies the mystery of true freedom. It is found only within the boundaries of love. A soul is truly free only when it knows its master. You were not created to serve desire, opinion, or emotion. You were made to belong to me. And when you are in me, every chain breaks. To the world you may look humble, but in truth you are stronger than ever. They may see you bow, yet you stand taller than ever, for only the surrendered stand unshaken. Only those who kneel before the Holy One will never bow to the world. I have heard the quiet whispers of your heart, Lord, if I let go of everything, what will I have left? And I say to you, you will have me, and I am enough. When you have me, you have all things. You have guidance that never errs, love that never fades, and grace that never runs dry. You need not cling to anything else for safety, for you are held securely in my hands. You need not prove your worth, for your value is not born of achievement, but of relationship. You need not fear loss, for I am your eternal inheritance. It is there when you have nothing left to protect, nothing left to prove, that you finally become truly free. Look back, my child, at the road you have walked. Once you chased every voice, the world offered the call of recognition, of emotion, of approval. You believed that if you were seen, you would be valuable, that if you achieved, you would be fulfilled. Yet when you grasped them, they slipped through your fingers, leaving you empty. For such things cannot fill a soul created to contain eternity. You have tasted the exhaustion of striving, the loneliness of pretending to be strong, the fear that comes from always trying to be in control. But now I see the weight lifting. I see your heart open, your hands no longer clenched. And in that moment when you release, when you yield completely, true freedom is born. True freedom does not come from breaking boundaries, but from stepping into the right ones. When you choose to be limited by my will, you are freed from every other chain. When you walk in my ways, you are delivered from the chaos of wrong choices. When you let me guide you, you are no longer driven by the expectations of others. When you walk in obedience, regret no longer torments you. When you learn to wait with patience, you are no longer enslaved by haste. True freedom is not having more options. It is knowing to whom you belong. I know the world will not understand you. They will say, "Why choose the narrow way?" But my child, the narrow way leads to life. You will find that while the world strives, you rest. While they fear losing, you are grateful to be held. While they seek validation, you seek my gaze. While they chase opportunity, you listen for my timing. True freedom is not about winning the race, it is knowing when to stop. It is not about having more, it is knowing enough. It is not about being praised, it is knowing you are loved. It is not about following your own voice, but recognizing mine. My child, you are learning the lesson. The saints of old once learned surrender becomes freedom, and freedom leads to union with me. When Paul was chained in prison, he sang, for his soul was unbound. When David was hunted, he wrote, "My soul finds rest in God alone." When Joseph was sold, he still believed all things were working according to my plan. And you too are learning that no circumstance can imprison a soul that has been set free. No power can subdue one who has surrendered to me. For once you no longer fear loss, you cannot be controlled. True freedom is not a condition, it is an identity. You were born to be free. Free to love without fear of being hurt. Free to give without fear of lack. Free to believe without demanding proof. Free to obey without needing explanation. Freedom does not mean you may do whatever you wish. It means nothing can make you forget the one to whom you belong. When you live in this freedom, you will feel as light as the wind, as steady as the mountain, as radiant as the dawn. For I will be your breath, your strength, your light, guiding you through each day. And my child, this freedom is not for you alone, it is a testimony. Every step you take, every word you speak, every act born of surrendered love will set others free. For when the world sees your soul at peace amid storms, they will perceive me. When they see you unbound by anger, envy, or fear, they will know a greater power dwells within you. You will become a lighthouse needing no shout, only light. Others will find their way home through the glow you bear. For your freedom will spark the freedom of many. Beloved, rejoice, for I see the new form of your soul, no longer trembling, no longer grasping, no longer striving to prove. You are living in the freedom of grace, breathing peace, walking in the rhythm of my spirit. You are living as one redeemed, released, and sent, and you will see each act of surrender brings greater freedom. Every let your will be done breaks another chain. Every moment of faith, instead of fear, lifts you higher. Every act of forgiveness draws you closer to heaven within your own heart. My child, I declare to you, if the Son sets you free, you will be free indeed. John 8:36. True freedom is not found out. There it is within you, in the deepest place my love has touched. Live from that place, speak from that place, love from that place. And when you do, the world will know you belong to another kingdom, the kingdom of light, of peace, of grace. Do not fear the darkness. I know you have trembled when light seemed to fade, when my voice grew silent, when you searched and could not find me. But understand this, my child, darkness is not the sign of my absence. It is the tool I use to deepen faith. When you can no longer feel me, that is when I am teaching you to trust my nature rather than your emotions. You cannot grow in faith if you live only by what you feel. So at times I withhold the sense of my presence, not because I am far, but because I am near, drawing you to believe beyond sight. I know my silence wounds you. You have prayed, you have wept, you have waited, and heaven has seemed quiet. You think I have forgotten, but in truth I am closer than ever. My silence is not abandonment, it is construction in secret. Like a seed buried in the soil, you cannot see it, but it is alive, splitting, preparing to emerge. If you dig it up too soon, you destroy its process. So it is with you, you cannot see what I am doing, but I am working, shaping every detail, every moment, every breath within my perfect design. I never promised that you would always feel my presence, but I did promise that I would never leave you. The difference between feeling and reality is where faith is refined. If you believe only when you feel me near, that is faith built on emotion. But if you believe even when you see nothing, that is true faith. Remember Abraham, when I promised him a son, he waited decades in the dark. Remember Joseph, When he lay in prison, no sign of deliverance shone through. Remember David, when he fled through caves, he saw no throne in sight. Yet in that darkness I refined them like gold in fire, like wine in stillness, like faith in waiting. Darkness is not your enemy. It is the cradle of revelation. When the blinding lights of success, applause, and worldly noise fade, then you can finally hear my whisper clearly. I speak in the night not to frighten, but to draw near. The deepest visions, the holiest promises I do not give in the clamor of daylight, but in the stillness of the night. It was in the night that Jacob wrestled with the angel and received a new name. It was in the night that Samuel heard my call for the first time. It was in the night that Daniel saw mysteries unfold. And it is in the night that I am calling you, not with thunder, but with the quiet voice that stirs the soul. I let you walk through darkness not to lose you, but to teach you to see by the eyes of faith. My light never ceases, it simply changes its place. When your eyes can no longer see outwardly, you learn to seek light within. When you stop waiting for signs, you begin to sense my presence in every breath. When you stop demanding answers, you begin to feel the steady rhythm of my love sustaining all things. My child, I do not want a shallow faith that sways with seasons. I want a mature faith, a faith that sings in the night, walks without sight, believes without feeling. You ask me, Lord, why must I go through such dark seasons? And I say, because I want you to know who I am, not only through miracles, but through silence. I am not only the God who parts the Red Sea, I am also the God who whispers in a gentle breeze. I am not only the God who sends fire on Mount Carmel, I am also the one who dwells in fragile sighs. You cannot know my depth if you live only in the light. Darkness teaches you to trust, light teaches you to praise. Both are necessary for your journey. True faith is born when you choose to believe without seeing. When you pray and heaven seems still, yet you whisper, I trust you, that is true faith. When you do not understand, yet you obey, that is true faith. When everything collapses, yet you worship, that is true faith, and such faith moves heaven. As it is written, the righteous shall live by faith. Not by understanding, not by emotion, but by faith. Faith that stands firm even when all outer light fades, because the inner light has been kindled by me. Do not fear the days when you cannot feel me. Emotions are waves, but I am the sea. Waves rise and fall, but the sea remains. Your feelings shift, but I do not. Even when you think you are far from me, you are resting in my arms. No night is long enough to hide you from my light. No pit is deep enough to escape my gaze. Remember my word through the prophet Isaiah, I will give you treasures hidden in darkness and riches stored in secret places, that you may know that I, the Lord, call you by name. Isaiah 4:5-3. Yes, my child, I hide treasures in the dark. Do not rush to escape, seek what I am revealing there. My child, darkness is not a prison, it is a birthplace. It is not an ending, it is the beginning of something new. When you walk through it, you will not be the same. You will see with inner light, speak with the voice of faith and love, with a purified heart. You will stop chasing comfort and begin seeking presence. You will stop asking me to change your circumstances and start asking me to change you. That is when darkness completes its work, not to destroy, but to transform. I promise you this, the light will return. Not because you find it, but because I am it. When the appointed time comes, dawn will break the night, and you will understand why I let the night linger so long. You will see what I planted in silence bloom in the light. You will realize I was never gone. You simply had not yet learned to see with the new eyes I was forming in you. So do not fear, my child. Darkness is only the curtain that conceals the growing light within you. Walk on. Even when you see no road, walk. Even when you hear no voice, trust. Even when you feel nothing, remain. I am walking with you in your breath, in the stillness, in your tears. I am here not as a distant God, but as a father watching every step you take. And when you pass through the night, you will look back and say, "The light never left, it was teaching me how to see in the dark." I heard you say, "Lord, I believe," and then whisper, "Help my unbelief." I answered not by removing the trial, but by giving you strength to stand in it. For faith cannot grow in comfort, it is forged in fire. You cannot know your strength until you are tested. Just as gold cannot shine without the furnace, your faith cannot be pure without refining. Do not fear the fire of testing, for I am the one who kindles it, not to burn but to refine. You ask, why does God allow what I do not understand? I say, because I am building within you something that cannot be shaken. My child, what I am forming in you is more precious than anything you could lose. I am etching into your soul a faith that does not depend on circumstance, does not waver with emotion, and does not die when prayers seem unanswered. A faith that believes not only in daylight but also in darkness, that praises not only in blessing but also in loss, that rejoices not only in victory but endures faithfully in the battle. My child, true faith is not born in glory but in adversity. When everything collapses, your soul seeks the only one who cannot fall. When every door closes, you finally learn to look up. When you lose control, you discover what it means to entrust yourself. Every tear, every sigh, every sleepless night is not meaningless. They are forging within you a spiritual strength the world cannot understand. For you are called to live, not by sight, but by faith in me. Paul wrote, "Our light and momentary afflictions are producing for us an eternal weight of glory, far beyond all comparison." 2 Corinthians 4:1-7. Do you see? What you call pain, I call preparation. What you see as an ending, I call a beginning. I do not allow your faith to break. I allow it to be shaped. I do not leave you weak. I make you strong in me. Just as a tree must drive its roots deep when the winds blow hard, your faith is driving deep into me in the midst of the storm. And when the wind is still, you will see that the storm itself made your roots secure. Faith is not believing that I will do what you want. It is believing that I am good, even when you do not understand what I do. When you pass through the desert, faith does not tell you that you will not thirst. It tells you that water will come in its time. When you pass through the fire, faith does not say you will not feel the heat. It says the flames cannot destroy you. When you sit in the dungeon, faith does not promise the doors will swing open at once. It assures you that I am there in the cell with you, and that is enough. My child, true faith does not need to see in order to believe. It believes in order to see. When you believe, the door opens for the miraculous. But sometimes the miracle is not being spared from the trial. It is being preserved within it. Miracles do not always wear the face of comfort. Sometimes the miracle is simply that you are still standing under what should have crushed you. When you learn this, you will know that I am not only the God of miracles, but the God of endurance. I do not only give deliverance, I give sustaining strength. You ask me, how can I know my faith is true? I answer, watch how you respond when the prayer remains unanswered. If you still choose to love, still choose to trust, still choose to give thanks, that is true faith. For faith is not the surge of feeling when you get what you want. It is the steady decision when there is nothing left to hold. Do you see, my child? True faith does not shout for answers. It whispers in the night, "You are still good." And I hear that whisper humming in your soul, small, tremulous, but so genuine, it stirs the heavens. My child, I do not seek perfect faith. I seek true faith. True faith may tremble, weep, and sigh, but it does not walk away. It may be weak, but it does not die. It may be tested, but it is not destroyed. It may be tormented, but it clings to me. Such faith does not sprout from reason, but from encounter. It is the kind of faith only those who have walked through darkness understand, the faith that knows that even when nothing is visible, a hand is still holding you fast. Refined faith no longer demands favorable conditions. It does not require me to prove myself. It only needs to know that I am who I am. When you reach that place, you will find yourself free from every fear. You will no longer dread the future because you know the one who holds it. You will no longer fear loss because you know all loss rests in my hands. You will no longer fear betrayal because you know I am faithful and true. You will no longer fear the night because you know the light burns within. And in that you will understand the purpose of testing is not to prove you weak, but to reveal my strength in you. Beloved, when I test you, I do not stand far off and watch. I am beside you like a father teaching a child to walk. Each time you fall, I do not turn away. I reach to lift you. Each time you tremble, I do not scold. I smile, for I know you are learning. And every time you rise, even one small step of faith, heaven rejoices. Nothing delights me more than seeing you trust me when everything around you says otherwise. That is the proof of true love, not love for what is received, but love for the one who is believed. One day you will look back and see it was in the seasons of trial that you were nearest to me. When you lost, you sought me. When you hurt, you called me. When you were lonely, you heard me. When you were weak, you felt my strength. The nights you mistook for abandonment were the moments I carried you in my arms. And when you come out of the furnace, you will not only shine brighter, you will look more like me. Everything I permit, however, puzzling aims at this, to transform you from glory to glory. Therefore, do not fear the fire. Do not resent the testing. Do not flee the wilderness. For there your faith is refined, your soul is established, and my light is revealed. When the fire is out, you will not be the same. You will stand amid ashes and still sing. You will shine in the night. You will no longer say, I believe, because I see, but I believe though I see nothing. And that is the faith I honor. Beloved, look around. The light is pouring in. The sun rises beyond the darkest ranges. And you, my child, are proof that darkness does not have the final word. What once made you tremble no longer binds your soul. The wounds that once laid you low have become glorious scars that tell the story of my mercy. You are no longer the one who went into the trial. You have come forth as pure gold. Not one of your tears was wasted. They watered the seed of faith I planted, and now it blossoms in resurrection light. After you have suffered a little while, the God of all grace, who has called you to his eternal glory in Christ, will himself restore you, establish you, strengthen you, and set you firm. 1 Peter 5:10. Yes, you are living in that promise now. What once threatened to destroy you, I have turned into tools to shape you. What the enemy meant for your fall, I have used to lift you up. You thought you were losing everything, but I was giving you what no one can take: a faith refined and a soul made new. My child, you have passed through the fire and you are brighter. You have passed through the waters and you are deeper. You have passed through the darkness and now you carry a light no lamp can kindle. It is not a light from without, but from within, the light of one who met me in the furnace and was transformed by my hand. You no longer fear the dark, for you know it is only a veil through which my glory appears. You no longer fear the trial, for you know my hand stands behind them all. You no longer ask why, for now your soul whispers, thank you. Those who have walked through fire are never the same. They emerge with eyes that see by faith, with steps steadied by grace, and with hearts filled with mercy. So it is with you. You have become a bearer of light, not the light of pride, but the light of gratitude. Not the sheen of outward triumph, but the radiance of a transformed soul. Now you can touch the pain of others without being swallowed by it, for you know pain becomes holy when placed in my hands. You can love those who wounded you because you were loved when you rebelled. You can forgive because you have been forgiven. This, my child, is true glory, the glory of one who has been healed. Not the glory of fame, but of depth. Not the glory of applause, but of presence. not the glory of power but of nearness. For I do not only want you rescued, I want you remade in my likeness. And as you allow me to use the darkness to shape you, I have set within you a portion of my own light. From now on, wherever you walk, that light will shine, not because you try, but because it is who you have become, my beloved child. When faith has been refined, it becomes light that shines in every circumstance. You will no longer be moved by praise or criticism. You will no longer be ruled by success or failure. You will no longer swing between hope and fear, for your faith has rooted itself in the one who never changes. When others lose peace amid the storm, you will rest. When they are confused by the shaking, you will say, I know whom I have believed. When they fall, you will stand, not because you are strong, but because you know you are held. Do not think, my child, that I brought you through the fire merely so you could live quietly for yourself. No, I have done this so that you might become a witness. You will tell those wandering in the night that light still exists. You will take the hand of the fallen and say, I have been there, and the Lord rescued me. You will speak not with theory, but with testimony. For every wound you once bore has now become a declaration. And when you open your mouth, others will feel the power of grace in your very breath. You have not only been saved, you have become an instrument of salvation for others. This is the moment I have long awaited, the moment when your faith is no longer fragile but steadfast, when your love is no longer hesitant but deep, when your heart is no longer restless but at rest. I see you so different from the one you once were. When you were afraid, I taught you courage. When you doubted, I taught you trust. When you closed your heart, I gently opened it. And now you have become living proof of what I have always declared, that all things work together for good to those who love me. Darkness was never meant to remain. It was meant to reveal the light. Fire was never meant to destroy. It was meant to refine. Trials were never sent to weaken. They were meant to strengthen. I have never let you suffer without purpose. Every tear carried meaning. And now you see the fruit of those tears, glory blooming like a flower among the ashes. Rise up, my child, no longer bowing to the weight of the past. Walk forward with the poise of one restored. Carry in your heart a new song, not one of lament, but of triumph. Beloved, I have not only restored you, I am sending you. For the world needs souls like yours, those who have been broken but not crushed, who have lost but not despaired, who have wept but not hardened, who have been cast down but have risen in glory. I am placing upon your shoulders the mantle of the anointed, not for pride but for service. The light within you is not for you alone, it is for those groping their way through the dark. You will stand as evidence that grace does not merely rescue, it transforms. Keep your heart humble, for true glory does not make one proud, it teaches one to bow. Let your light shine through love, not words. Let others see me in your eyes, in the way you forgive, in the way you love the unlovable. That is how the world will recognize me, through those whom I have refined. My child, breathe deeply. Feel the new breath, filling your soul, the breath of life, of strength, of glory. Step out of the old season and do not look back. The darkness has completed its mission. Now is your time to shine. I have placed within you a flame that will never go out. It is no longer the fire of testing, but the fire of calling, of hope, of divine love. Be still and feel the warmth spreading that is my love, flowing into the places you thought had died. I come not with thunder, not with consuming fire, but with a gentle breeze, as I once came to Elijah on Mount Horeb. You do not need to earn this love. You do not need to prove or strive. I love you not because you are perfect, but because you are mine. And this love, my child, is rewriting everything from your wounds to your dreams, even your past, that once seemed beyond redemption. When I heal, I do not merely patch wounds, I touch the roots. I do not only erase the marks of pain, I renew your very being. My love does not work on the surface, It goes deep into the places your soul once recoiled in fear, hid in shame, and shut out the light. You thought those parts could never be saved, but it is precisely there that I began my work. I am removing the armor you wore to survive, so you can finally feel the warmth of grace. For you were not created to live in defense, you were created to live in freedom. My love does not judge. It sees everything, the parts you hide, the regrets you carry, the fears you dread others might see, and still says, I choose you. When you tremble, I do not pull away. When you fall, I do not turn my back. When you wander, I do not stop calling. You cannot fall beyond my reach, for my love is not bound by your mistakes. It does not run dry when you fail, nor grow when you succeed. It does not shift with your moods because it flows from my nature, the nature of one who never changes. You once thought love must be deserved, earned, kept through effort, but that is not my love. My love is not performance-based, it is presence-based. It does not ask, what have you done, but will you let me love you? And when you finally allow me to love you, everything else begins to melt away. Fear, guilt, bitterness, shame, doubt, all dissolve in the light of love. For true love does not come to condemn, but to set free. Remember, I am not only almighty, I am gentle. I know how to bandage without pain. I know how to touch the deep places without frightening you. I am never in haste. I will heal you slowly, softly, not through noise, but through the whispers of tenderness. Each morning you wake, I write a new line upon your life, a line of peace, of hope, of gratitude. And one day when you look back, you will marvel that the pages once torn have become the most beautiful ones, for they are where I wrote my glory. You ask, how will I know I am truly healed? I say, when you can look back without pain, when you can speak of the past without fear, when you can bless those who once hurt you, then you will know my work is complete. For true healing is not mere comfort, it is transformation. It turns pain into wisdom, tears into seeds, ashes into gardens. I do not only wipe your tears, I teach you to water new life with them. Do not think, my beloved, that healing means returning to what was. No. You will never be the same, and that is the miracle. You will not go back to who you were, for who you were cannot hold what I am preparing for you. I do not return you to the starting point. I lead you to a new beginning. The past no longer defines you. It becomes the foundation of grace. Every broken piece has become proof that I can make all things new. So do not try to mend the old vessel. Let me shape you anew, stronger, more beautiful, marked by the hand of the Creator. And when my love restores you, it changes not only you, but how you see the world. You will find grace where you once saw chaos. You will hear hope in what once sounded like loss. You will recognize that no one is a true enemy, only lost souls still waiting for my touch. You will demand less judge, less control, less, and begin to live in gratitude. You will love not to be loved back, but because you are overflowing. You will give not from duty, but because love has become your nature. My beloved child, when I restore, I do not merely repair what was broken, I make it better. I do not simply close an old chapter, I write a new one, radiant with purpose. The dreams you thought had died, I am breathing life into them again, but now under the light of my will. The relationships that once fell apart, I will restore them, not as before, but in truth and humility. The opportunities you believed were lost, I will replace them with something greater, for I never take away without giving back more. You need only to trust and allow me to rewrite your story. Know this, my love never leaves anything unfinished. I never begin what I do not intend to complete. Every work I start in your soul will reach perfection. Though you may stumble, though you may tremble, I remain steadfast. I am the God of new beginnings, and nothing in your life is too late for renewal. The years you thought were wasted, I can redeem. The time you believed was lost, I can turn into harvest. The love you feared had run dry, I can cause to overflow again. not because your circumstances have changed, but because your heart has. Let me teach you how to love again, not as before with haste, caution, or fear, but in freedom. Let me teach you how to believe again, not with sight, but with knowing. Let me teach you how to live again, not merely exist, but live fully in the meaning I have ordained. I do not only want you healed, I want you abundant. As it is written in John 10:10, I have come that they may have life and have it to the full. My child, that is what I am giving you, a life lacking nothing, built not on fear, but on love. As you stand in this new day, know that my love not only surrounds you, it goes before you. Everywhere you set your foot, I have already walked. Everyone you meet, I am ready to move through you. Let my love flow through your words, your eyes, your gestures, even your silence. Become a bearer of peace, not because you try, but because you have been reconciled. Become a sower of faith, not because you persuade, but because you have met the faithful one. Become a vessel of healing, not because you are perfect, but because you have been touched by perfect love. This is the beginning of a new chapter. Love has entered. Light is spreading. Darkness is fading. You are no longer merely being healed, you are being reborn. Every breath you take carries new life. Every step you walk rests on the path of grace. And every word spoken from a grateful heart becomes a prophecy of goodness yet to come. I am here not just to soothe, but to recreate. Not just to lift you up, but to set you on a new foundation. Not just to wipe away tears, but to place a crown of restoration in your hands. You are my workmanship, not unfinished, not flawed, but being perfected day by day in eternal love. Now that your soul is healed and your heart rests in my love, grace begins to flow outward from you. Grace was never meant to be stored, it was meant to flow. Just as rivers do not drink their own water, the grace in you exists to refresh those who thirst around you. You once prayed that I would use you, and now the healing you have received is the key that opens your calling. For only those who have been broken know how to bind wounds. Only those who have been forgiven know how to forgive. Only those who have been loved without condition know how to love without measure. Understand, the wounds you once carried are not marks of shame, but of grace. I do not erase them, for they tell the story of my power. They testify that darkness once came, but light prevailed. And each time you speak of what I have done to you, you open a door for me to enter someone else's life. You do not need strength to help another. You need sincerity. For my strength is made perfect in your weakness. When I restore you, I also prepare you to bring restoration. The healing you have received is not meant to end with you. It multiplies through every act of love. When you smile at the hurting, when you are patient with the weak, when you listen instead of judge, when you choose forgiveness over revenge, that is when my grace spreads through you. You do not need a stage to be used by me. Sometimes a single look of compassion can melt a heart of stone. Do not think expanding your borders means traveling far. It means loving deep. Many believe service begins with leaving where they are, but it begins right where you stand. In your home, in your work, in your daily conversations, there my light must shine. I do not need you to do great things. I need you to do small things with great love. Every act of kindness is a stone in the building of my kingdom. And every silent forgiveness makes heaven rejoice, for you are opening the way for me to move. Do not fear running dry when you give. My grace in you never runs out, for it does not flow from you, but from the eternal source. Each time you pour out, I refill. Each time you love, I strengthen. Each time you forgive, I give peace. You cannot outgive grace, for grace never diminishes. As John 7:38 says, whoever believes in me, rivers of living water will flow from within them. And now, my child, you are that river. I know there will be moments when it feels hard to love the unlovable, to be patient with the unchanged, to keep trusting when misunderstood. You will want to close your heart to retreat to safety. But I say to you, do not shrink your heart. Let love triumph over fear, for true love is not easy, but it always wins. Love is not a feeling, it is a choice. The choice to respond differently from the world, to live in grace, rather than demand to remain in light when all around you calls for darkness. My beloved child, expanding your borders is not only about reaching others, it is about allowing me to reach the parts of you still withheld. There remain in you closed chambers, wounded spaces. You keep locked away, believing I need not touch them. But I say to you, give those to me as well. For only when you let me step into every room of your soul can you become a complete vessel of light. You cannot impart freedom you have not received. You cannot speak of love you have not allowed me to pour into your deepest places. So let my love go further, not only outward to others, but inward to the very core of you. When I enlarge your soul, you will find yourself beginning to love what you once dismissed, to understand those you once judged, and to reach the places you once avoided. My love softens every boundary. It teaches you to see others not through labels but through eyes of mercy. You will come to recognize that every soul, no matter how broken, bears my image. And when you see with my eyes, you will no longer be easily offended, nor quick to anger, nor eager to win every argument. You will realize that to love is to conquer. My child, know that I am teaching you to live as one who carries heaven, not through theory but through life. Not through words but through presence. Wherever you go, peace must remain. Wherever you speak, your words must carry life. Wherever you pray, darkness must retreat, not because you are powerful, but because I dwell within you. Each step you take expands the territory of light. And when you walk in love, I will use you to shift the atmosphere around you. One true carrier of peace can still be a storm. Do not let weariness make you forget your source. When you feel empty, do not give from your own strength. Return to the place where you were filled my presence. Come rest, and I will refill you with fresh love. You were never called to burn yourself out, but to shine through me. The light you bear is not sustained by effort, but by connection. As the branch abides in the vine, so must you remain in me to bear fruit, not by striving, but by abiding. Beloved one, I am widening your heart beyond its old limits. You will love those you once feared. You will intercede for those who hurt you. You will forgive those who never apologize. And as you do, you will feel more free than ever before. You will see that forgiveness does not free the offender, it frees you. You will no longer carry the burden of resentment, for my love in you is stronger than any wound. And as you live this way, the world around you will begin to change, not through loud miracles, but through the steady tenderness of grace. Every day of your life will become a testimony. Others will not only hear you speak of me, they will see me in you. You will become a living letter of heaven, written with the ink of love, and read by all who encounter you. My child, you are not as small as you think. You are a bearer of glory. You are chosen to enlarge the borders of light. And every time you choose love over fear, trust over doubt, surrender over control, the boundary expands. Do not fear when your light unsettles others. It only reveals what is unhealed in them. Keep shining, keep loving, keep forgiving. I will make your light like a city on a hill, impossible to hide. When I healed you, I did not intend for you to stay comfortable. I have been training you for purpose. My love within you was never meant to be contained, but to overflow. You were not called merely to live well, but to live on mission as living proof of my love in a world starving for the real. For the world is not short on knowledge, but on love. Not short on noise, but on voices born from transformed hearts. Not short on artificial light, but on the light that shines from souls touched by grace. Your true mission lies not in title or position, but in nature. You do not need to shout loudly, only let me speak through you. Every time you love the difficult, that is your mission. Every time you forgive, instead of retaliate, that is your mission. Every time you carry peace into chaos, that is your mission. For true calling is not about doing great things, but about living truly in love. And when you live truly in love, I will use your very life to touch those who never believed they could be loved. Jesus said, "You are the light of the world. A city set on a hill cannot be hidden." Matthew 5:1-4, "My beloved, I do not want you merely to speak of light. I want you to be light. Light does not strive to shine, it simply is. When you abide in me, the light shines naturally. No performance, no pretense. Simply remain in my love, and love will do the rest. Where you are, the atmosphere shifts. Where you step, hope awakens. Where you pray, heaven opens. My child, do not think you are too small to make a difference. A single candle can drive darkness from a room. A single drop of water can start a ripple. A single word of love can soften a heart frozen for years. My love in you carries far greater power than you imagine, for it is not emotion, but the creative force of heaven itself. When you love, you participate in my great work, the work of redemption, of restoration, of bringing light to places thought long dead. Know this, the world does not need more eloquent sermons, but listening souls. Not more critics, but hearts that understand. Not more noise, but quiet steps that carry peace. That is why I led you through trial, to teach you the pain of humanity, that you may love with understanding, not theory. Now you carry a sacred empathy, the kind that only comes from a soul once broken and restored by my hand. My beloved child, your mission is not to strive to please me, but to let me love through you. Let me speak through your voice, see through your eyes, walk through your steps. When you hold someone's hand in silence, I am the one touching through you. When you pray for another in secret, I am working through you. When you choose patience in anger, I am showing my mercy through you. You do not need to understand every outcome. You need only to obey. For true love does not demand results, it simply remains faithful. Do not fear if this love makes you different. The world may call kindness, weakness, forgiveness, naivety, humility, frailty, but I call these the strength of the kingdom. The enemy trembles not before force, but before love. He cannot endure a healed soul, for such a soul carries the power to heal others. He cannot control a heart that loves, for love cannot be manipulated. When you love without demand, when you serve without recognition, when you persist in your calling, though no one understands, you are winning battles in realms unseen. My child, I am teaching you to carry heaven in every breath you take and every step you walk. Do not divide spiritual life from ordinary life, for to me all becomes sacred when done in love. When you wash dishes, when you work, when you care for another, when you forgive, when you pray in silence, each is worship. The world believes worship is a song, but I say to you, worship is how you love. And remember, my child, love has no borders. It does not stop at those who are easy to love. It reaches those who have not yet learned how. It does not stay within the church walls, it walks the busy streets. It does not remain in prayer alone, it shows itself in action. Let my love in you become the bridge between heaven and earth, a path through which I may touch humanity. I did not send you to condemn, but to reconcile, not to expose faults, but to bring hope, not to push away, but to draw near. Every person you meet, no matter how distant, bears a fragment of my image, and when you honor them, you honor me. True love will wound you, for it requires your heart to stay open. But fear not, for I am within the wound. When you are misunderstood, I understand. When you are rejected, I accept you. When you are betrayed, I remain faithful. When you are weak, I am strong for you. You are never alone in this mission, for I walk beside you. Take each day in love, no matter how small, for in me, even the smallest act carries eternal weight. You will no longer live to prove, but to serve. You will no longer strive to hold, but to give. You will no longer fear losing, for you have found what cannot be lost, me. Each day you live will be a new measure in heaven's symphony. Each act you do will be a note of worship. Each person you touch will become a line of grace written into eternity. You will become my answer to someone's prayer, my comfort to a broken soul, and my light to the one lost in darkness. Love never fails. It may be rejected, mocked, or misunderstood, but it is never wasted. Every seed of love you sow will bring a harvest in my time. You may not see it now, but it grows silently beneath the soil. Keep loving, keep sowing, keep believing, and when the time comes, you will see the green fields of my kingdom springing up all around your life. Let love be your language, your breath, your mission. Let it continue the story I have begun. For that love is not an idea, it is my very being alive within you. And when you live in it, you are fulfilling the reason you were created. Child, a new season has arrived. Can you feel it? Not a season of outward change, but of inner union, where your heartbeat syncs with heaven's rhythm, where your will no longer resists, but flows into mine. This is the season where you stop praying, "Lord, do what I want," and begin to say, "Lord, make me want what you are doing." It is the season of maturity, where your soul ceases to strive and begins to flow effortlessly in grace, light-free and powerful. To reach this place, you have passed through fire and water, darkness and valleys of tears. But now all of it has become the foundation for glory. Not a single tear was wasted. Everything you thought was lost, I am using as material for creation. I am arranging every piece of your life, every dream, every relationship, according to divine order. Everything I do is perfectly timed, and this is your moment, the moment to walk fully aligned with my purpose. My will is not a burden, it is rest. When you dwell in my will, you no longer strive to prove or fight. You simply walk in peace. My will does not take your freedom, it restores it. True freedom comes when you are no longer bound by anxiety, fear, or control. When you let me lead, you will find everything beginning to flow smoothly. What once felt tangled will become clear. For I am the one who holds the rhythm of your life. Remember, as a harp produces harmony only when its strings are tuned, so your soul must be tuned to me. And now I am doing that work. I am tightening every string of your heart to match heaven's melody. Every word you speak, every thought you think, every act you do, when aligned with my will resonate with the music of life. You do not need to do much. You need only to be in place. For in the position of obedience, there is power. My will is not merely doing the right thing, but being in the right place, at the right time, in the right way. Sometimes I tell you to stop, sometimes to go, sometimes to wait, sometimes to face the storm, not to frighten you, but to reveal that I am in the midst of it. When you learn to trust my timing, you will stop fearing delays or missed opportunities. For in my kingdom there is no too late, only perfect orchestration. When my will becomes the rhythm within you, you will see the world differently. You will no longer pray only for blessings, but for heaven's purposes to be fulfilled. You will no longer ask, "What do I get?" but "What do you want to do through me?" You will no longer seek to change circumstances, but to change your heart to align with mine. Then you will live in the power of surrender, no longer tense or anxious, but resting in the peace of knowing you are exactly where, when, and who you are meant to be. My beloved child, when you walk in my will, you do not merely live. You exist within glory, for my will is where glory dwells. In that place, my light radiates through you effortlessly. You do not need to strive to be seen, for true light never advertises itself, it simply shines. And when you shine, others will look and know that I am with you. They will sense a peace they cannot explain, witness a joy untouched by circumstance, and hear in your voice the certainty of a soul anchored in the unshakable one. I do not only desire that you walk in my will, but that you partner with me in heaven's work. This is the season where you will hear my voice more clearly, recognize signs more quickly, and act with greater courage. I am teaching you to walk in spiritual sensitivity, not guided by reason but by the Spirit. As you open your heart to my leading, you will see that nothing is random. Every encounter, every change, every word you overhear carries divine purpose. I am writing my story through you, and every line you live has eternal value. Do not fear that my will take you where you do not wish to go. My will may lead you into unfamiliar lands, but never outside my embrace. There will be paths you do not understand, turns that seem unnecessary, but one day you will see they were the only way to the height I intended. For I do not only want you to reach the destination, I want you transformed along the way. My will is not merely about the result, but about the person you are becoming. Beloved, trust that my will is always good, pleasing, and perfect. Romans 1:2. There are things I do that you do not yet understand, but I have never erred. There are doors I close that bring pain, but they guard you from what is not yours. There are seasons of silence, not because I have forgotten you, but because I am preparing you. And there are people I remove not to make you lonely, but to make space for those I will send. When you learn to trust my hand, you will see everything fall into place like pieces of a perfect picture. This is the season of partnership between you and heaven. You are not only a receiver, but a co-laborer. I will show you what eyes have not seen, let you hear what ears have not heard, and perceive movements in the Spirit you once missed. You will be called to pray not just for yourself, but for cities, for nations, for generations. For you no longer live merely for yourself. You have been placed in a strategic position within my eternal design. As my will flows through you, remember it is all grace, not merit. Never forget the source of the power. When you pray and miracles happen, kneel lower, not higher. When others praise you, direct the glory back to me. For power endures only when wrapped in humility. I will lift you up in due time, but you must remain in the heart of obedience. This is a season of new glory, not your glory, but mine reflected through you. It is the season when old promises come to pass, old doors reopen, and long-buried dreams live again. But this time you will receive without fear, knowing that what I build will endure. Everything I begin with you, I will complete with my own hand. You are not merely called to live in my will, but to become living proof that my will is the best thing that could ever happen to humanity. And I say to you, abide in me, and I in you. As the branch cannot bear fruit by itself unless it abides in the vine, neither can you unless you abide in me. John 1:5-4. Stay, my child. Stay in love, in peace, in my will, for that is where glory dwells, where miracles begin, and where I will write the next wondrous chapters of your story. Child, I tell you this, when your soul becomes one with heaven's, will you step into the realm of true power, not power born of your own strength, but of my divine flow through you. This is the moment where you no longer ask for power to act. Power flows naturally because you are in me and I in you. Every word you speak in unity carries the weight of heaven. Every act you do in obedience bears the mark of glory. True power is not born in noise, but in the quiet of surrender. When your will no longer fragments your focus, your soul becomes transparent, a mirror for my reflection. Like Moses, who did not seek power but presence, and whose face shone because I was with him, so it will be for you. Power will not come because you force outcomes, but because you let me move freely through you. In this union, human effort fades and only the life of the Spirit remains. This is the secret of those sent in the final hour. They do not act as the ambitious, but as clean conduits. They do not perform to prove power, but to reveal the one who sent them. They do not work miracles to impress, but to restore heaven's glory. I do not need skilled hands, I need surrendered ones. When your hands yield, they become my instruments. When your mouth yields, it becomes heaven's voice. When your heart yields, it becomes my dwelling place. Your words will carry life. A single sentence spoken under anointing can awaken a sleeping soul, heal a broken heart, and set captives free. Not because you have power, but because you allow me to speak. When you pray, it will not merely be your words, it will be heaven's breath through your lips. When you touch someone, it will not be your hand, it will be mine. You will see miracles not because you create them, but because my presence within you overflows. This is where you learn to operate in authority, not human authority, but that of a child of the kingdom. You will no longer shout at darkness, for the light within you will make it flee. You will not argue with sin, for holiness will expose it by presence alone. You will not need to prove yourself, for your very being where I dwell will testify of truth. You will not wield a sword of striving, for I will fight for you. Your strength will be found in rest and your victory in obedience. Do not be surprised when doors begin to open, when strangers come seeking prayer, when your words bring deep encouragement to others. None of this is coincidence. It is heaven moving through you. I am expanding your sphere of influence, not to make you known, but to reveal my glory. Every step you take, I go before you. Every word you speak, I breathe life into. Every place you touch, my mark will remain. This is the hour when others will recognize me not through banners or titles, but through the quiet power of your life. Keep your heart pure, for power cannot dwell in a soul full of calculation. Union with me is not magic. It is continual communion. Learn to listen before speaking, to be still, before acting, to yield, before deciding. Every moment you spend in my presence charges your spirit with divine strength. Like Moses on the mountain, every time you remain in me, your spiritual countenance reflects a light the world cannot imitate. I am the source, you are the stream, never separate from the source. My child, I am teaching you to walk not in fear, but in the authority of love. True power does not dwell in a clenched fist, but in an open hand. It does not threaten, impose, or control, it releases. When you love, you act in power. When you forgive, you shatter chains. When you intercede, you open heaven's gates for another soul to enter. That is the power of unity, where love, grace, and truth converge. Your power lies in knowing who you are in me. You are not one who begs for miracles, you carry them. You are not one waiting for change, you bring change. You are not merely a witness of light, you reflect it. You are the temple of the Holy Spirit, the dwelling place of my presence, the gate between heaven and earth. When you walk, heaven walks with you. When you speak, heaven listens. When you pray, I move. You cannot separate yourself from glory, for glory has chosen to abide within you. Beloved, never forget, the greater the power, the deeper the humility required. The more I use you, the more you must be still. The more you are anointed, the more you must guard your heart. Do not let success blur your purpose. Do not let miracles make you forget the miracle worker. When I use you to heal someone, give thanks, not pride. When your words touch hearts, remember, they are my words, not yours. When light within you is praised, bow low, so that the light may point back to me. For glory never belongs to you, it only passes through you. This is the season of power in gentleness. The world seeks force, but I seek surrender. The world craves noise, but I anoint the quiet heart. The world applauds those who shout, but I pour oil on those who pray in secret. Do not strive to be important. Be transparent, so I can be seen through you. When you disappear, my glory appears. When you cease to control, the Holy Spirit moves supernaturally. Let me use you as a channel of blessing. When you speak a word of life, heaven stirs. When you sing in praise, the atmosphere opens. When you pray, I release strength beyond imagination. When you lay hands with true compassion, I pour healing through you. This is no imagination, it is a partnership between your soul and heaven. You are bringing glory to earth every time you live aware that I dwell in you. And when you see power move, remember, its purpose is not to make you shine, but to display my nature, love, truth, mercy. Power is not for conquest, but restoration. Not for performance, but service. Not for show, but renewal. When you act in love, power will never run dry, for it flows from an endless source. You need not hold it, only let it flow. For when you become the giver, you stand in the very center of my will. Now look, my child, the heavens are opening. The light of heaven is descending upon the earth, and I see souls like yours rising, shining in the midst of darkness. This is the moment I have awaited, the return of glory through my people. Not the glory of fame or might, but of love, truth, mercy, and justice. This glory does not burst like lightning. It dawns like morning, spreading softly and awakening what was asleep. I declared from the beginning, the earth will be filled with the knowledge of the glory of the Lord as the waters cover the sea. Habakkuk 2:1-4, and now that word is being fulfilled. You are part of it. Every prayer you offer, every act of love, every tear of repentance, every song of praise, all join together as a tide of glory covering the earth. You think yourself small, but I tell you the truth. Through the humble and the yielded, I am shaking the heavens. This is no longer the age of isolated efforts. It is the age of unity in the Spirit. I am gathering hearts refined by fire, schooled in love, emptied of self, who now rise together to carry glory once more. No more you and me, no more rivalry, only one body, one spirit, one purpose, one voice, to exalt my name, to reveal my heart, to bring my kingdom on earth as it is in heaven. Beloved, this glory is not something you must strive to create. It is what I am pouring out. When you love, obey, and walk humbly, the glory descends naturally. It dwells not only in sanctuaries, but in your home, your work, even in places where you once thought I could not be. For I do not dwell in temples made by human hands. I dwell in surrendered hearts. And when millions of such hearts ignite darkness, will have no refuge left, I am restoring what was lost. Where there was war, I will sow peace. Where there was hatred, I will plant love. Where there was ruin, I will rebuild cities of faith. Where there was mourning, I will pour out laughter. Everything sin has destroyed, I will restore 100-fold. For my glory does not shine merely to decorate it, shines to transform, to renew all things, to resurrect what was dead, and to bring humanity back to its original purpose, to live in me and for me. Beloved child, do not think that what I am doing is only spiritual, it is total. I am moving in spirit, in culture, in art, in work, in science, in politics, in every realm. I am breathing new life into places that were barren, reawakening springs of creativity I planted within humankind. For my glory is not confined to churches, it lives in the very breath of life itself. When you create with a pure heart, when you work in obedience, when you sing, when you write, when you serve, when you love, you are revealing that glory. True glory is not an outer brilliance. It radiates from within. It is the light of a soul united with me. It needs no applause, no banner, no trumpet. It enters quietly, transforming the atmosphere, causing peace to rest upon hearts that do not understand why. That is the glory within you, the light that cannot be extinguished, purchased, or imitated. When you walk, it spreads. When you speak, heaven echoes. When you pray, the heavens tremble. Glory is not the final reward, it is the state of perfect union. When you and I are one, glory becomes as natural as breathing. It is when your soul no longer wrestles between your will and mine, no longer struggles for position, no longer clings to control. You are in me and I in you. Everything you do, every word you speak, every life you touch becomes an opportunity for glory to be seen. My child, this is the time of the latter glory, the glory of the generation I have prepared through many seasons. A generation that does not chase miracles but carries them, that seeks not its own fame but reflects mine. that needs no title or throne but simply is. They will not shout, yet realms will shift where they stand. They will not boast, for their peace will speak louder than words. They will not argue holiness, for their light will make it undeniable. And you, my child, are part of that generation. Those who have not known me will call your light unusual, but do not hide it. I did not light your lamp to put it under a basket. The light you carry is meant to guide the lost lead seekers and remind the world that I am still here, still loving, still moving. Shine, my child, not by striving, but by abiding. Let love lead you, and wherever you go, glory will follow. My beloved, as glory returns, my presence will be clearer than ever before. Prayers once whispered will yield supernatural results. Simple songs will open heaven's gates. Ordinary encounters will become sacred moments. Ordinary people will do extraordinary things, not because they are special, but because they are surrendered. The world will ask, "What is happening?" And the answer will be simple: God is among his people. Take heart. I have been working in silence for years, preparing for this hour. Now what was hidden will be revealed. The tears you sowed will reap joy. The prayers you thought were lost are blooming. The ancient words spoken long ago are coming to pass. For this is the time of glory, of fulfillment, of full restoration. And I say to you, the glory of this latter house shall be greater than the former. Haggai 2:9. Yes, glory is returning to the earth, not from human thrones, but from surrendered hearts. Not from grand cathedrals, but from quiet prayer rooms. Not through loud trumpets, but through whispers of love. Not by might, nor by power, but by my Spirit. And as you flow in that current, you are not merely a witness, you are a carrier of that glory to the ends of the earth. Lift up your head, for your light has come, and the glory of the Lord rises upon you. Step forward, for this is the moment when heaven and earth unite, when love has triumphed, when promises are fulfilled, when glory returns, and your story will not end in tears but in light. Thank you for listening to today's message. Subscribe and click the bell icon to continue receiving living words of hope. Grow steadfast in faith and walk daily in the boundless love of God. Amen.